Antonio Segui is one of those Menorcan wall builders who, throughout his life, has built hundreds of meters of dry stone wall. Now we are going to remove the soil and then lay the foundations of the wall. At the stroke of a pickaxe, Antonio, helped by Pere, opens the trench that will hold the foundation of the construction. Here it will generally be about 20-25 centimeters. Before bringing the stones, Antonio does this preparatory work. The dry wall in Menorca has three fundamental objectives. On the first hand, protecting the vegetation and crops against the prevailing winds that traverse the island. Removing the stones from the crop fields, facilitating tillage, and with the division of the fields into plots, allowing the rotational grazing of livestock, making better use of pastures and fodder. Following the lines of the trench, Antonio, the wall builder, places one by one the largest stones that will serve as foundations for the work. To keep all the rows of stones straight, especially the first ones on which will depend all the following ones, this craftsman lays the thread at the desired height. The thread is laid to make the first and the second, to start the wall. No more thread until the end. At the end, a thread is put to finish the wall of the small stone. Covering, that one we have apart, that's another story. This is done by eye. The largest stones go at the base and slightly sunk into the ground. Antonio is trying to make sure that each piece fits well in the ground and with the rest of the stones, taking advantage of their natural shape. If there is a peak of one stone that comes out more or less than the other, then it is chopped off with a hammer. Here there is a piece of wall that has been started. Now the stones must be well wedged, filling the wall. When the first rows on both sides of the wall are well settled, begins the filling with small stones. The wall builder puts excessive interest in leaving well wedged the main stones to place the second row on them. As this is natural, it is now when there is more work to fill in, because it is when the wall is the widest. As we go up, the wall gets more and more narrow. The work is slow and it will take them several days. Antonio and his assistants are in no hurry. They want to do a job worthy of those stonemasons that until a few decades ago dedicated themselves to building walls all year round. When I was young, when I was 40 years old, for example, 30 or 40, 3 men worked 10-12 meters per day. Antonio's advanced age does not allow him to keep up the pace of work that he could boast of 40 years ago. In spite of this, stone by stone, the wall stands out in the scenery. In the intermediate rows, the stones that will remain on the outside, called cantonadas, are of medium size. To do his job well, Antonio only needs the pickaxe, or goat's horn, and a lot of skill to match one stone to another. The rope that was used to maintain the level in the first rows has been replaced by the wall builder's good eye. The height reached by the dry stone wall, journey after journey, has forced Antonio to set up a small scaffolding. Before closing the wall with the cap or capel, the wall builder places the thread again to maintain a uniform row in the termination. This row has to be all the same. If the other one comes out more or less, nothing happens. Today, the day has been a little colder and rainier than the previous ones, but there is little work left to finish the wall, and it is better to continue. Now I'm putting the coverings on less well. An old saying goes, put is capel, that is, a cap. Antonio closes the wall with the coverings for which, as in the foundations, they use the largest stones. This is one of the jobs that is almost the heaviest there is, because they have to be more or less big. Now I'm going to put a saclau, translated the key. While it gets in, we must look at it because it is easy to deviate. Now it has been straight. We have also made a little original thing of the island. Now it only remains to fill with small stones the space that has been left between the two covering rows. With this, it is finished. There are still 3 or 4 doors to be put in, and the wall will be finished. Ready to deliver and ready to be paid. Antonio Segui, helped by Pere and Jome, has finished his last work in dry stone. Today, fortunately, the island of Menorca maintains this construction technique thanks to the will of its inhabitants and a sense of recovery and appreciation of the wealth of cultural heritage inherited from their ancestors.